So good afternoon, folks. So this is Dr. Sachin. I'm the Senior Consultant Pulmonology and Critical World Hospital. And today we have with us Dr. Maheshwarappa, and he is the head of Sakra Institute of Rehabilitation Sciences. And you see today why we are here, because it has been almost a year when we first heard of COVID virus. So last 1 year there are many ups and downs, both in the patient's profile and still something to learn. So today we are going to discuss on a focused issue of post-COVID care. So and we'll be taking some questions from the audience also, and we'll try to clarify these issues.
Uh, Please tell us, our audience would like to know how deadly the other system in the body and what all damages it can cause in the human system.
So, sir, as I told you, we have seen initially when this virus came, everybody was very much apprehensive. Initially, it was seen as a normal respiratory virus like cough and cold, and with some serious implication. But once the virus gets into our body, what we have seen that it not only affects your respiratory system but other systems also. So initially on the lungs part, 70 to 80% are mild infections, so they will have a normal cough and cold, upper respiratory tract infection symptoms, and but 15% to 20% it affects the lung of getting neurological complications like stroke and other things and other disability, as we will talk, sir.
Does it affect even the renal system and kidney?
Yes, sir. So we have seen many patients, and also it is documented in the medical literature. In acute case, many of patients will suffer from kidney damage, kidney failure, and even some of them, like 15% or 5 to 10% of cases, might require dialysis also if they are very sick. So this virus truly is not a respiratory virus; it's a multi-system disease.
Okay. So the simple cases are easy to treat, but to complicated cases, how do you manage medically?
Yes. So as I told you, over the last 1 year, the care has evolved. So as I told you, only one part of the fraction of patients, like 15%, will require hospitalization. So most of them would be managed with oxygen, with the face mask, with some supportive antiviral medications, and also steroid in case-to-case basis of these cases and other supportive measures. But 5% are very critical, which will require ICU care, and we have seen that non-invasive ventilation plays a very good part to avoid intubation and to avoid them putting onto the invasive sort of ventilation. So non-invasive ventilation, then high frequency nasal cannula we give, high flow nasal oxygen. So that also avoids from patient getting to a mechanical ventilator, because mechanical ventilator, once the patient requires, then the outcome becomes bad. So those who require mechanical ventilator, then most of them, majority of them will not make it. So that's why as a doctor team, we want to rely more on non-invasive ventilation and other medicines as far as possible.
So some patients we see that they are getting into more of tracheostomy and then prolonged ventilator care.
Yeah.
So do the patient come out from this crisis?
Yes, as I told you, now we are saying something known as long COVID. Means even if the COVID virus is negative, the pneumonia has happened and it has scarred your lungs. So that the lung system goes into respiratory failure, chronic respiratory failure. So if they are already on ventilator, then they will require this sort of surgery like a tracheostomy, in which we artificially create a hole in the windpipe, and that helps in getting out of the ventilator. And also with other things, supportive care, slowly over a period of time, maybe it takes a few weeks to months. Once they recover, then they are taken off these things. So, but it's a process and takes time, sir.
So, Dr. Sachin, what are the the post-COVID medical complications you come across during your practice?
Yeah. So as I told you briefly that this is known as post-COVID or long COVID syndrome. So those patients, we have seen around 60% of the persons who we discharge and with a moderate disease, up to 6 weeks they will have some symptoms of respiratory tract like coughing and breathing trouble. And if you do a CT scan on them, then at the end of 1 month to 1.5 months, 80% will show some affection of the lungs. And also if you do at 12 weeks, means 4 months, or even at 6 months, 30 to 40% of patients who had been in ICU or requiring oxygen will have some sort of lung scarring. Okay. So these patients have long-term lung scarring, lung fibrosis. That is one part of it. And second thing is that many of these patients have unrelated or other complications, like many patients will develop pulmonary embolism, lung clotting, so clotting of blood in the lungs. So those also require long-term treatment, and also neurological complication. Many persons have confusional state, loss of memory, and also some of them will have, young person we have seen to suffering from stroke, paralysis. So these things are the disability which we see in slightly longer period of time. Even if the COVID virus has been treated successfully, up to 3 to 6 months, these things can come in various combinations.
So in the last 1 year of your experience with treating coronavirus, is there any change in the virus character and also the medical management? Has it evolved over
Yes.
a period?
So as I told you, the virus is very smart and it has been already 1 year. But you see, as the virus has evolved, we have as a medical professional have also evolved. So coming to the virus first, so initially there was much of myth and many confusion surrounding the virus. But obviously, you see recently in December, we have got a news that the virus has got a major mutation in UK, and the mutation is not for good. It is very infectious. So luckily in India, still we are not facing that problem till now. But obviously with mutation, it makes difficult for virus to get controlled. So obviously over the last 1 year, the focus initially was to, as a public health, we wanted to limit the spread of the disease by restricting the strict lockdown and all those things. But then the focus shifted to medical management of using antiviral agent like remdesivir. Then the big news of steroid role came to treat severe cases of COVID. But now our focus is not only to treat COVID, we have also utilized our resources and also our knowledge and what experience we have with other respiratory disease to tackle it in a holistic way. So from management to post-COVID care, what we are discussing today is also a part of thing which has evolved period of time. So as I told you, many patients have long COVID syndrome. So that is why we need to be giving some comprehensive rehabilitation, so which we'll be discussing, I think. So it's a process of exercise and other things to rehabilitate a patient who has recovered from COVID so that he comes back to his life. It's not about the cough and cold or the breathing trouble he has suffered, but holistically he should be cured by what we say. I think, sir, you are the correct person. So we will be asking you some questions about this. So to make the discussion further. So tell me, sir, as a medical pulmonologist, I have seen the patients who come to my clinic. But as a rehabilitation expert, I'm sure you must be coming across these patients also, and many of patients are our common patient which we have been referring to you. So in general, what post-COVID disabilities you have been treating from your side of these patients?
Yeah. So many of in post-COVID pulmonary rehabilitation clinic, which we run here in Sakra World Hospital, many patients continue to have breathing difficulty. So breathing difficulty is one of the major disability we come across, and also they are oxygen dependent. So they continue to be on oxygen for a longer time, and also neuromuscular weakness. It's the weakness of the respiratory muscles and also weakness of musculoskeletal muscles in the body. So it makes them the difficulty in breathing, difficulty in talking, difficulty in swallowing. They are so weak and tired, and they are not even able to get up and sit, stand, walk, and the entire activities of daily living gets affected. They become more or less dependent for almost all the activities.
Yes.
Also, it severely impacts their physical function, psychological function, social function, and economical well-being. So these are the disabilities we come across.
Yes. So as a clinician, when a patient walks into my clinic, so when I see these things, I also look for these things. But as a clinician, I tell them that you require a sort of rehabilitation. So when the patient comes to you, sir, so how do you evaluate? How do you draw a plan from your side? What all aspects you look into?
See, initially, when patient comes, we will look at the patient condition first. Whether once is out of ventilator support, whether he is on NIV, mask, whether he is on BiPAP or CPAP machine, portable one. Also whether he has any oxygen mask and level, how much oxygen is requirement. These are the critical things we assess in the beginning when patient we take over to the rehab. Later on, we do the there are so many parameters we assess the patient, like a lung function test, and then inspiratory muscle strength test.
Okay.
So through some of the tools and assessment scales we use, and also functional capacity assessment, like a 6-minute walk test, and a lower limb strength assessment, endurance assessment. We make them to sit and stand for about 30 seconds and see how much he is able to do.
Yes.
And also cardiopulmonary endurance test, where we make 2 minutes climbing the steps and assess his lung cardiopulmonary endurance. And also the upper limb assessment, like a test we do for the endurance, like a PEC, 6-minute PEC test, whether he gets exhausted during that time.
Okay.
And also total body muscle strength assessment, and also dyspnea assessment scale we use, quality of life index scale,
Yes. Yes.
and also the balance assessment, and activity of daily living assessment, and flexibility assessment,
Yeah.
single breath hold assessment. These are the tools and assessment scales we use before planning out rehabilitation.
Yes.
Then after the assessment, we make a proper rehabilitation plan. The rehabilitation specialist who heading the entire rehabilitation team, and who in combined with all the therapists and the professionals in the rehabilitation, we set up the treatment plan.
Okay.
So in the treatment plan, we focus mainly on improving the muscle strength and endurance and of the respiratory muscles and the overall body muscles, so that the lung condition improves, so that patient can be weaned off slowly from the oxygen, so that they can live without any oxygen dependency. Also, the overall strength improving in the body, and the patient is able to speak and swallow and stand, walk, and he can live independently without any support of the family members, without any assistive devices. So it needs a comprehensive the pulmonary rehabilitation by the team of members, and with that, so we will be able to get the best results. So we also use a lot of advanced equipments, like from basic to quite advanced, like simple spirometry to power breath to a cycle ergometer to a rehabilitation treadmills, and also robotic assisted exercise trainer, also balance assessment, and walking in the safety walkers. See, these are a lot of tools and equipments are used to get the best possible function, so that we can patient can come out independent, to lead an independent life.
Yes, I must say, sir, I'm impressed. You have a very great team, and I have because we have been working closely for the last 4 or 5 years in this pulmonary rehabilitation. So most of the things with post-COVID care we have utilized is the pulmonary rehabilitation. The basement, the foundation is the pulmonary rehabilitation. So for the benefit of all our audience, can you tell me, sir, what is this post-COVID pulmonary rehabilitation program?
Post-COVID pulmonary rehabilitation is a team of professionals. Like, there are many professionals who are involved, from pulmonologist and physiatrist and physiotherapist, yoga therapist, occupational therapist, speech and swallowing therapist, and nutritionist, the psychologist, and also rehab nurses. They all combinedly work for the patient recovery, to recovery of the lung function and recovery of the muscles, respiratory muscles and overall body muscles, so that they don't need any support to care after going home. Like in this team, like for example, pulmonologist. So as you explained, how you take care of the patient initial assessment and medical care in the ICU, in the ward. So that is very important because patient, when it comes to rehabilitation, we do find some of the secondary infection and patient deteriorating and chest pain and pneumothorax and so we immediately call for the pulmonologist to take over. So rehab specialist who assess the initially with all these tools, and we make a comprehensive rehabilitation plan in combined discussed with all other team members. So physiotherapist will be working on the more lung expansion exercise, respiratory muscle strengthening, overall body muscle strengthening, balance and gait. So occupational therapist will be working on the activities of daily living training so that he will perform all the activities once he go home. And yoga therapists use the yogic techniques. So they are all medical professionals, not like normal ordinary yoga. They are trained and they know the condition very well. What is the coronavirus patients? What is the condition of the lung? So they design the yogic techniques to perform exercise so that they can increase the lung capacity, muscle strength, and also flexibility of the muscles. So this is the unique what we have in the pulmonary rehabilitation program. The psychologists who do the assessment of the patient also, they work on the counseling to reduce their depression and anxiety, and also nutritionists because these patients are prone for high nutritional risk. So they assess the nutritional status and then give a right diet so that the patient recover fast.
Basically, I think it's a 360-degree holistic plan what we are doing here. Basically, patients with post-COVID have so many different dimensions to their health which has been affected by this virus. So we make sure that each part is taken care of with a multitude of professional what we have. So I will give you one example. One patient under me, she was a 75-year-old female who unfortunately got COVID and got onto the ventilator. Then she was there on ventilator for 2 weeks, then tracheostomy, long care plan, then we shifted towards your side. So, and she completed the pulmonary rehabilitation program here at Sakra. So once she came with on follow-up, then I asked her, what was your best part of whole experience? So the patient point of view, she says, I went home without oxygen, took my grandson to the park and played with her. So we see this is what it should be. So in sum total, it's not about only giving medicines or antiviral medication, but to reach to a level of care where the person goes back to the home smiling with doing everything what he has been doing and pre-COVID. So that is our aim at post-COVID recovery plan. So I'm sure there are so many stories from your side also.
That is true. There are so many patients from other hospital. From the ICU itself, they shift to pulmonary rehabilitation to Sakra World Hospital, and we take care of the management of tracheostomy, BiPAP, and oxygen, and then we put them in the proper rehabilitation program, and we see that with the entire this program, patient making a recovery and closing of tracheostomy, removing the raised tube, making them eat orally, and speaking well and without difficulty. They get up, walk, and do even sports. They play games in the rehabilitation department before going home. So, and fully it is monitored, and we have there are n number of success stories from the each patient.
So in fact, one audience question they have passed to me before we close. So they are saying that this post-COVID pulmonary rehabilitation program, so we in media, it's like many places are doing this. So is there any specific unique things what we are doing here which makes us different, or the care of post-COVID pulmonary rehab per se? Anything you would like to say, sir?
Yes. The Sakra World Hospital post-COVID pulmonary rehabilitation is a unique. A reason this is so unique, and it has got so many pillars in that. One, it's a comprehensive approach, and it's a multidisciplinary, having highly specialized professionals and highly experienced. And the program is more of patient-centric goal setting. and we have a evidence-based the rehabilitation protocol and SOPs for the patient. Also, globally standardized clinical outcomes. We nearly use more than 30 clinical outcomes to measure the patient, and we do periodical assessment. And also, we have a advanced technology and a dedicated rehabilitation center in the Sakra World Hospital. Also, these patients will be monitored from A to Z, from the time of the coming to the hospital and till the end. We continuously monitor. To add to this, surprisingly, and the Sakra World Hospital Pulmonary Rehabilitation Project under the Department of Pulmonology, heading you,
Yes.
and the Department Institute of Rehabilitation Science under me, got a highest award in the country.
Yes.
That is called SL DL Shaw Award from the Quality Council of India. This is the highest quality award anyone can get in medical, not only medical science, in the entire sector of the in the country.
Yes.
So, having this, we have established one of the best pulmonary rehabilitation program, and it won even in the Japan. We won the medal.
Yeah. In fact, I think I will add to that, to the feather to the cap. In fact, we presented from my side this pulmonary rehabilitation data to the Japanese CCOM university program, which was very good, appreciated. And even we presented our data in our medical, because here at Sakra we are not only patient centric, there is a research behind this. So we have presented these findings at many scientific podiums, including our Karnataka Pulmonologist Association, where there was a very good response to what we have been doing. So I must say that this program at Sakra is indeed very unique, and we are still very much keen to improve further with your help and obviously our patients. So we want to assure best level of care from our side. So any parting advice from your sides, or as it pulmonary rehab, what you can say to the
one
audience?
is with this pulmonary what patients expects from pulmonary
Yeah.
rehabilitation. That is what many people ask me.
Yes.
The ultimate aim is to, in post-COVID patients, to get rid of the oxygen, wean off oxygen, so that they can live without oxygen in the atmosphere, with the atmosphere air, and also improve the strength of the respiratory muscles and also musculoskeletal muscles, so that the breathing difficulty comes down. He can stand and walk and perform all this activity like earlier. And also his fatigue and tiredness level comes down, and physical function will improve. The moment all this physical function of the patient improves, and naturally he will start psychologically feel better, the depression will go, and socially he will do well. That means he will attend the different the family functions, going to friends' house, and also he will get back to the job, so that economically he will become independent. So that the rehabilitation gives a very good backup support for the medical line of treatment, so in deriving the quality of life for each patient.
Yes, I think indeed it's a very good achievement from your side also. We have done so much for these post-COVID patients, and I think in nutshell, if I can summarize, so the COVID care, post-COVID care is not only confined to the 4 or 5 sentences of some antiviral medications with the doctor sitting and writing prescription. It is more than that, and the aim is also more inclusive, holistic, as we pointed out. Rehabilitation means to relive your life again. So it's something which we aspire for, and we have seen many heartbreaking story with this COVID thing setting into. Those things we have never seen, never imagined. The level of disability it is giving to a normal person, 25-year-old person who has been hale and hearty, but he is now hooked to his oxygen. He has to earn, he has to leave his family. So these things also has to be taken care of, and we as a medical profession owe our society to do these things in a better way, in whatever better way we can do with our comprehensive rehabilitation program. So as a parting message, I would say that be positive, have faith, and also be positive in the sense that we can achieve together. Together is the most important word I have been using. It is from the patient, from the medical professional to our complete team. So there is a rehabilitation team. It's a teamwork. So as a parting advice, thank you all for your patient listening, and we are open to any questions, suggestions. Anytime you need to consult us. So most of us are available now for in-person appointments as a physical appointments, and so any questions and queries we will happy to address. So thanking you all.
Thank you.
It was a nice pleasure to interact with sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.